Am I the only one that didn't know how eerie isolation could be? Let me take you to a place where the silence is deafening. It was a cold winter evening when Max decided to drive up to his family's cabin in the mountains for a weekend getaway. The cabin was isolated, miles away from the nearest town. Just what he wanted, peace and quiet. By the time Max arrived, it was already dark. He unpacked, made a fire, and settled in duds. But then, a knock on the door. Max stood up, heart racing. Another knock, louder this time. He wasn't expecting anyone. No one should be around. Cautiously, he approached the door and peeked through the peephole. A man stood outside, half hidden in shadows. His clothes were tattered, eyes wild. He looked desperate. "Please," the man begged, "I need to come inside. There's something following me." As Max hesitated. The darkness outside revealed nothing. Should he trust this stranger? Something in the man's eyes said yes. Max stepped aside and let him in.
Max stepped aside and the man quickly entered, shutting the door behind him. As soon as the man was inside, he collapsed onto the floor, exhausted. Max helped him over to the couch and offered him some water. The man drank greedily before speaking again. "It's out there," he whispered. "It won't stop until it finds me." Before Max could ask what he meant, there was a loud bang on the door, followed by scratching sounds like something with sharp claws was trying to get in. Max's heart raced as he looked at the man, who was now trembling in fear. "Don't open it!" the man pleaded. "No matter what you hear, don't open the door!" The scratching continued, growing more frantic. Max backed away from the door, unsure of what to do. The banging became louder, and then came the voice, soft and whispery but somehow familiar. "Max!" it called. "Let me in!" Max froze. How did it know his name? The voice continued, more insistent now. "Max, please, let me in. I'm cold. I'm lost. Please." He turned to the man, who shook his head violently. "Don't listen to it. It's not who you think it is." The voice outside grew more desperate, pleading with him to open the door. Max was torn, but something about the man's fear convinced him to stay put. He huddled with the stranger by the fire, waiting for the noises to stop. Hours passed before the banging and scratching finally ceased. When Max looked out the window, there was no sign of anything outside, just the stillness of the snow-covered forest. The next morning, the man left without saying much, just thanking Max for saving his life. Max never saw him again, but from that day on, whenever he went back to the cabin, he could still hear the faint sound of scratching at the door. Like and share for more stories.